My welcome back to breakfast. Our next guest was rated Best Speaker twice after presenting at 2 national conferences full of GPs and medical experts. But she doesn't have a medical background. Instead, she's developed a therapy that uses the power of the mind to help people suffering from conditions like chronic fatigue, chronic pain, anxiety, and digestion issues. And she's got some incredible testimonies from her clients. Mel Abbott's Switch Therapy takes a holistic view of health rather than focusing on individual organs and symptoms. And it teaches people to calm their body's stress responses and to dig deep into the emotional issues at play. Those are the things that may be exacerbating their condition. Mel joins me now along with one of her patients, Sarah Galbraith. Morena Korua, it's wonderful to have you both in here.
Thank you. Good morning.
So, tell us about Switch Power. How does it work and what are these strategies in this therapy?
So research has shown that when people are stuck in a stress response, the energy has to go to their heart, their lungs and their limbs because you've got to run or fight. So that means you've got to steal that energy from somewhere else. And so that gets stolen from digestion, immunity, hormone balance, reproduction, all the areas of the body that are not involved in fighting the tiger get stolen from. So if you're only in a tiger response for 5 minutes, it doesn't matter. But if people have been stuck in stress for years, then they're depleting all their other body systems for so long that they're going to develop a large range of chronic illnesses.
That they won't really connect to perhaps stress-related, work or things like that.
No.
So what are the techniques?
So it's a 4-day program. So we're teaching people to understand how they've become that sick, because it's terrifying when you're that sick. You just think, oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? I've got this problem, this problem, this problem, and doctors can't give any answers. So I'm helping people to understand why they're sick, which immediately starts to calm them down a bit. And then I'm teaching them a range of mind techniques to calm the body more. I'm teaching them how to rewire their thinking patterns, because a lot of the thoughts that people do reinforce the stress. And I'm teaching them how to release the underlying emotional causes of their stress, because until you release the cause, the stress keeps happening.
And this is not just some hippie stuff. This is actually based on mainstream medical papers, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, research has shown the role of stress. However, that hasn't factored through into medical training. So when I present at national GP conferences, the doctors are just mind blown and say, whoa, this is the missing link we never had. They never thought that actually if someone is stressed all the time, they're going to have a whole lot of health problems.
Yep.
So we need to calm that down in order to allow the body to heal naturally.
And Sarah, tell us about your journey in terms of using this therapy. And it started with an injury, didn't it?
Yeah, so back in, it was actually Waitangi Day 2019, I had a concussion while I was wakeboarding, and I was sick for about a year. I just had all of the post-concussion syndrome symptoms. I was in bed basically the whole time. I couldn't have a conversation, couldn't work, and I had all sorts of sensitivity to light and noise and chronic headaches and fatigue. I was sleeping about 14 hours a day for the whole year, and at the beginning about 20 hours a day. So I just couldn't really do anything. And then I heard about this course. So back in January 2020, so about a year and a half ago, I went on it, and within 3 days, I was pretty much completely healed from the concussion, and within 2 weeks, I was fully healed. And I also had a lot of underlying things, like she was talking about. I was very stressed. And so I think I'd had about 7 years of counselling for anxiety and depression and all sorts of other things with mental illness. And I'd had panic attacks and everything. And I've just been working on that and using the switch and doing these processes. And every month since I've done the course, I've been better and better and better.
So, and just to put this into context, before you had found out about this therapy, you had actually gone to see a wide range of professionals, and no one had an answer for the symptoms that you were experiencing. So what are the techniques? I mean, 3 days and your migraines were gone. What are the techniques that worked for you?
For me, it was just the switch itself, and so it's, like she said, all about calming the stress response. And I found I'd had so many years of counselling, I had all these techniques and things, but it was quite overwhelming, whereas this was just like one simple process. It only takes like a minute, and I could just do it every single time I felt those symptoms come up. And
is it like deep breathing or taking a moment of mindfulness? Or?
Yeah, it does incorporate that, and also making a conscious decision to choose something else. So you can say, like, I can choose to do this, or I can choose, so say
it's
the
kind of self-empowerment.
Yeah, and so that's what I found. It was very empowering because I thought, if I want to see these changes, it's up to me, and I'm not going to Mel to, for her to tell me, oh, this is what that doesn't make sense, like it was with all the counsellors. I felt like I had to go to them to get the help. But for me, I was like, okay, I can just do this every single time. And then I saw the results really, really quickly.
That's amazing. And I know, Mel, that you've heard similar testimonies from a lot of your other clients too. There is a real connection between the power of your mind and emotions and how that correlates to some serious health effects. But equally, you can use those two things to come up with some really serious health solutions that are positive for you.
Massively. Yeah, I mean, I was ill for 11 years. I was just on an invalid's benefit. I was, like Sarah described, and then I was all better in 2 weeks as well. So, when the body is in a state of calm, it's really good at healing itself, but it can't do that when it's stressed out. So I've seen people recover from so many different health problems. 3/4 of my clients have been told by doctors what you have is incurable, and they've been ill for an average of a decade. And yet 80 to 90% of them get better when they come and do the course.
This is so interesting, and the fact that medical doctors themselves have been intrigued by your research and backing it, actually. Where can we find out more about this? Because I think a lot of viewers would be quite fascinated.
It's empowertherapies.co.nz.
empowertherapies.co.nz. Well, thank you both for coming on the show this morning.